From Boston University Center for Digital Imaging Arts, it's the Post Movie Podcast. I'm Steve Head.
I'm John Black.
In this week's episode, we're reviewing Kevin Smith's new film, Cop Out, starring Bruce Willis and Tracy Morgan. And with the imminent release of Clash of the Titans, John and I assumed the arduous task of watching a classic Ray Harryhausen flick, 1 Million Years BC, starring Raquel Welch, so we'll talk about that. Also, we'll have news of the forthcoming DVD releases for next week and a preview of Jonathan Demme's tribute at the Coolidge Corner Theater next week.
This mass suicide was discovered here in the ancient Mayan city of Tikal.
Time now to take a look at what's new on DVD for the week of Tuesday, March 2nd.
The victims adhere to the Mayan calendar, which predicts that the end of time will coincide with a planetary alignment on the 21st of December of 2012.
Hello?
Kate, I've rented a plane. Pack up the kids.
The governor just said we're fine now.
When they tell you not to panic, that's when you run!
You call me back when you calm down.
Normal. It seems the worst is over.
Under the table! Let's go! Holy...
You just heard a clip from Roland Emmerich's mega disaster flick 2012. The DVD, which comes out Tuesday, features a commentary by Emmerich and co-writer Harold Klosser. It also has deleted scenes and an alternate ending. Also on DVD this Tuesday is Spike Jonze's adaptation of Maurice Sendak's Where the Wild Things Are. The DVD's special features include a series of Where the Wild Things Are short films by Lance Bangs, and featurettes entitled The Absurdity of Filming a Dog Running and Barking at the Same Time, Crew Pranks Spike, Vampire Attack, the Max Records short, and The Kids Take Over the Picture.
I've got two DVDs I want to recommend to people this week. The first one is Elvis, and it's this great biopic with Kurt Russell as Elvis Presley, and it's directed by John Carpenter, who did The Thing and Halloween. It's kind of weird to think Carpenter would do something like this, but it's just got the coolest performance by Kurt Russell. And this was a movie he was making the leap from teen star, Disney movie star, to adult film star, not porno, but adult, an adult in acting.
Was this late 70s?
I think so. I think so.
Made for TV.
Yes, but it looks great. And Russell gives this really cool performance. I'm not sure if he sings. I really didn't want to know if he actually sang or if they dubbed in an Elvis impersonator. But
I distinctly recall the scene with him shooting the television set.
It's funny casting because Kurt Russell's dad, Bing Russell, plays Elvis's dad. Shelley Winters is his mom. Pat Hingle is Colonel Tom Parker. So I would highly recommend it. Extras. It's got a few extras, a few interviews, and it's got a souvenir booklet talking about the making of the movie. But I just love Russell's performance, so I highly recommend that. The other one is Ponyo by Hayao Miyazaki.
Sorry.
That's okay. I need to get it right. This is his latest film, but he's also the director of movies like Howl's Moving Castle, Spirited Away, Princess Mononoke. He's the reason... he and the money of the Walt Disney Company are the reason that anime is making it into theaters. I wasn't a huge fan of Ponyo, but it's good, and I think it's a great stepping stone to go back and look at some of his other work, especially like Spirited Away, which is just mind-blowing. The DVD has some extras. It's got a pretty cool feature about Ghibli Studios, which is the anime studio who makes Miyazaki's movies. It's got some character studies. It's got a few documentaries. It's got one of those storyboard, you can watch the movie in storyboard form, which I've never really enjoyed. If I've got the movie, why would I watch the storyboard?
On Blu-ray, it should be pretty amazing.
Yeah. It's that all his movies are, and like I said, the main reason I'm recommending Ponyo is that, and for anyone who doesn't know, it's really the story of the Little Mermaid, the same kind of story Disney did, but without the cleavage and the bad songs. This is more of a straightforward telling of the legend. It's good. I had a problem with the American voices in it, like Liam Neeson's the bad guy, and it's just Liam Neeson's voice is distracting.
Tina Fey and Matt Damon.
Yeah,
also
they're not as recognizable, but you can always watch it in the original Japanese and read the subtitles. The drawback to that is you're busy reading when all this beautiful artwork is in front of you. So
it's a very beautiful film. I found it a little annoying when it got a bit childish towards the end, babyish, but yeah, you know.
It works. So those are my 2 recommendations for this week.
Other new titles for the week are Paul Giamatti's flick Cold Souls, the documentary The Beaches of Agnes, about the French female filmmaker Agnes Varda. Very good. And Bitch Slap, unrated.
How did you ladies end up out here anyway?
Well, officer, it's quite a story. You need to work on your nurturing skills, Daddy-O.
I hate women who let themselves be objectified.
Well, the girl's gotta eat.
I need help getting off. You know who I am? Extortion, embezzlement, my personal favorite, human trafficking. I'm Trixie.
I am in love.
She can make men do whatever she wants with nothing more than a well-timed bend over.
Don't tell me you don't want some of what I'm selling. Can I trust you? Get me out of here, and I'll split 200 million in diamonds with you.
Tomorrow night, it's all up to you.
Daddy likes.
Where's the goods?
You okay, miss?
You're becoming a liability, Camaro. You're so hopped up at whatever you're dropping, you're irrational.
What up?
Hi, hi.
Kinky likes you. Kinky want to play.
What does she want to play? Giddy up! You're my horse!
May God have mercy on your soul. Get in here, we found something.
You stupid darlings. When Pinky finds out about this, you're all dead.
You work for Pinky. Give me the gun.
I can't trust you.
Here I come.
Time to get medieval. People keep dying!
She needs to be put down.
You chained her up?
Wham this in your clam-baked bitch cake.
Welcome to my slammer.
Now,
You seen Bitch Slap?
no, I haven't seen it, but I'm supposed to be getting a review copy, and I can't wait.
I saw it in Toronto a couple
And?
months back.
Is it awesome?
It's
called Bitch
you know,
Slap,
it's
and
awesome
got a
in the
bunch-
sense that it's
awesomely
really bad, and entertainingly bad. Just it's really gratuitous, you know, chest shots and just
Fighting, right?
fighting.
Do they fight
you know.
topless? Or nearly
Yeah,
topless?
there's a gratuitous. I'm trying to recall. You know, I get my topless movies so mixed up.
Don't we
I'm
all?
trying to remember. it's lots of guns and psychos and women jumping up and down with their jugs on screen. And there's a particularly funny scene with a midget or a dwarf running through the foreground with a machine gun, just for the sake of running through the foreground with a machine gun.
There should be a little of that in every movie.
But it's a really low budget film that they filmed for a couple of weeks in New Zealand, out in, I guess there's a desert in New Zealand, and it's some amusing confrontations here. You know, when they're trying to keep the secret from the I guess the hot cop that tries to bust them in the middle of the desert, but there's a body in the trunk.
So what you're saying, obviously, it's a chick flick.
It's a chick.
Yeah, it's
flick.
a date flick. This is the movie you wanted to take your girl to on Valentine's Day. Bitch Slap.
Bitch Slap. Well, I really wanted to see it because it was
why.
choreographed by Zoe Bell,
Uh-huh.
who was Uma Thurman's stunt double in
Kill Bill?
Kill Bill, and she starred in Tarantino's the Kurt Russell Grindhouse.
Oh, it wasn't Planet Terror. It was Death Race?
Death Proof.
Death Proof.
Right.
She was the girl in Death Proof?
Yeah, she was the girl that was tied to the hood of the car
Okay.
in Death Proof, Zoe Bell. Also the subject of a very good documentary on female
Stunt people. Stunt people,
Yeah.
yeah. You know, I just think people, you know, some listeners might be offended by a movie about, you know, called Bitch Slap. That's the way I feel when I have to go see Sex in the City. It's not for me. You know, I don't care about shoes or fashion or their feelings. I really do care about, you know, girls in bikinis shooting guns and fighting each other.
It has some
It's just
amusing
me.
cameos from Hercules and Xena, Kevin Sorbo and Lucy Lawless.
Really?
That was good stuff. Yeah.
See, they need a paycheck too.
So it'll do well. I think it's good.
Yes, in fact, I think we'll be revisiting it once I've seen it. We
yeah.
might do a
Oh
whole
yeah, we'll be
hour
talking
on it.
about this at length again.
We're definitely going to be posting clips as soon as I find them.
Right.
Trust me.
Also, Clash of the Titans is being released on Tuesday. A re-release, remastered of the original. When did it come out? 1980.
Yeah. Yeah. They
Has
got
a
to
new
milk
interview.
it.
Yeah. Yeah. Has a new interview with Ray Harryhausen and a thing called Maps of Myths and Monsters. A map of myths and monsters gallery. So, I guess it's worth it. I thought it was pretty cool when it came out. I mean, I was just totally taken with it.
How old were you in, 1980?
1914.
Yeah, see, I think that's what it was made for, 14-year-old boys. Kind of like the Ray Harryhausen movie we're going to be talking about later, 1 Million Years BC, which is made for the 14-year-old boy in all of us, and we'll tell you why.
For the 14-year-olds who were born in 1952, right? I guess.
Or,
I guess.
we all have those moments. We regress when Raquel's on the screen. At least I do, I'll admit it.
Before we get started on Raquel and her assets.
From Warner Brothers Pictures, the studio that brought you the acclaimed police dramas, Dirty Harry, Training Day, and The Departed, comes a film that carries on the tradition.
I'm going on the cover.
Doubtful.
Yes, I'm doubtful.
I already made my decision.
Hello? The president is black now. We make decisions.
You know, there's a right way of doing police work. Then there's a way you two do it.
Now's a good time to do something. Now that is what I'm talking about.
This is the stuff that my mother used to tell her friends about. My son is a genius. My son is a genius. That's the sound of the police. That's the sound of the beast.
What's going on?
Somebody just broke into your house.
I'm gonna go take care of the son of a bee myself.
Man,
You gonna smoke somebody?
put the gun down.
I know my rights.
Lady, put the freaking gun down on the ground right now. Take your son across the freaking street and say that till he's gonna get you. Jeez.
I kind of smile even when you call it a Kevin Smith film.
It's not.
It's not. He didn't
directed it,
write
but-
this, but he directed it and edited it.
It's funny how you said a little question there at the end of editing, because I wondered the same thing.
Well, I saw his name, so I assumed he did it.
He
But,
did edit, yes.
When I was writing the review for BostonEventGuide.com today, and I came up with this great term. Kevin Smith makes smart fart movies. There's smart dialogue, smart comedy, and then there's fart jokes and toilet humor.
Mm-hmm.
So what you've got here is, because he didn't write the script, it's not smart. It's not smart at all. There is the fart component. There are a lot of poo-poo jokes and boyish, behavior, mimicking each other like that's supposed to be funny.
Machine again.
Yeah, who are you trying to call, your lady? 6 o'clock in the morning. She's probably asleep. Can I get her number? Oh, psych. I already got it.
Shut up!
You want to shoot me?
I'll shoot you right in the face.
I'll shoot you in the face.
What? Shut up! Shut up! Stop repeating. Stop repeating. Shut up, man. You see what he's doing, Jim? Shut up! Jim, do you see what he's doing? He's trying to live here rent-free.
Don't tap your head with the gun.
Shut up.
Okay.
Yo, man, don't be saying what I say. Shut your mouth. Now don't repeat.
Duck season.
Rabbit season. Come on.
But, I guess he needs the paycheck. I'm a huge fan of his work, and I'm going to cut him some slack and saying, maybe he needs to upgrade so he can fly an airline that lets fat people fly.
I think this is his slickest film. I wouldn't say he's not a smooth filmmaker. He's very clunky.
No, the action in this movie sucks.
Mechanical. And I think early on in this film, you could see that. I mean, Kevin Smith is a guy who, he's used to framing two shots. Mm-hmm. And if he does a tracking move, that's kind of a rare thing for him. So here he's doing a movie and he's got money, but it just didn't seem smooth. And even though he didn't write it, the other thing that stuck out for me was that Bruce Willis and Tracy Morgan still seemed to be riffing like Kevin Smith in some parts of the movie, particularly the early interrogation scene. These are
oh my God, that was
just throwing pop culture stuff out at you. And sure, it's funny and amusing, but it takes you out of their characters. It's more a Kevin Smith thing. And it took me a while to get beyond the clunkiness, but that's a whole another thing.
I left the theater thinking about the clunkiness and the riffing to me was really tired. It almost felt like because Willis is such a big star, he did what he wanted, which is pretty much just kind of like smirk his way through the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Tracy Morgan is good in small doses, but they just unleash him here.
How are we gonna work this?
Same way we always do. I interrogate him, you write it down.
Oh, so you're making decisions now. I hope the whole 6ix9ine know you're making decisions. I'm gonna play the bad guy on this one.
Doubtful.
Undoubtful.
Highly doubtful. And you know why? Because you don't play the bad guy. You just steal all the lines you hear on TV and the movies that you like.
Watch you learn, Jimbo.
Whoa, what you doing, man?
You a cop?
No. Put the gun down, man. Look. You in trouble, B?
What? Don't wait for dog.
Now he's doing Al Pacino from Heat.
I got the death penalty in 12 systems.
Star Wars?
Tell us about the chicken.
Schindler's List?
We're gonna need a bigger pool. Beetlejuice!
Everything on cable TV.
Yippee-ki-yay!
I've never seen that movie.
He kind of made his career out of comedy that involves saying things that don't make any sense. Like not inappropriate, they just don't make any sense unless you're living in Tracy world.
The YouTube?
Yeah, exactly. It's
there's some great one-liners,
No, I didn't. And then they bring in Sean William Scott.
Yeah,
as
who's just being the funny version of Sean William Scott.
Yeah. Well, here's a challenge. Here's a challenge for both of us. What's the plot of this movie in 10 words?
Recover a baseball card so Bruce Willis can pay for his daughter's wedding.
Okay. And it's also about a Mexican drug cartel trying to take over distribution on the East Coast, but they need a secret code.
Drive.
Yeah, a flash drive hidden in a crucifix of a Mexican hottie.
Just little tools that just are like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, there's it's when you're watching this movie, it was funny because I'm just watching Willis and Morgan, blah 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 blah, and then the Mexican bad guy shows up again, and I literally was like, I forgot about him.
Yeah.
As anyone who hears me or knows me can tell, I'm not a Mexican American or a Mexican person. But I was offended by how cliche these bad guys were.
That did jump into my mind while watching the film, that it could be offensive that way. I as a Catholic, I didn't really dig the scene where they have this you first meet them in the church, and a particular violence is performed there as if this is their home turf, and
I think that's Kevin Smith working out his guilt issues.
I think he can get away with that because he's Catholic, so he's gonna
But give me a reason for it.
They were just Spanish guys showing up, Latino, going to church and killing someone.
Yeah.
It's just horrible.
And then,
but I think he was trying to make us. I think this is Kevin Smith trying to do something intentionally, to make a statement that I can do this.
Yeah,
it didn't have to have these elements, but yet he does it.
Yeah, there's a lot of that in the movie that didn't have to happen. They didn't have to have Morgan, Willis, and Scott sitting in a car telling knock-knock jokes.
Mm-hmm. But that's Kevin Smith playing to his audience. These little things, these little fart joke type of humor, picking up on these little things. That's
I guess that's part of what he's built his career on, but I think his audience, at least if I'm considered part of his audience, we've outgrown that. When it was like in Zack and Mira Make a Porno, there was a place for that kind of humor, although even then he went too far in a couple of scenes.
Yeah, I think that was his best film.
But this was just, again, it was almost like, hey, there's no Kevin Smith in this movie. I've got to put some Kevin Smith in. Let's do a fart joke. Let's say shit over and over again.
Oh, yeah, there's another Kevin Smith element in my mind is the over and useless abundance of profanity. Just completely useless. Just fuck. It doesn't have to be there. And maybe that's how people talk around Kevin Smith, but, generally that was just like in-your-face swearing for the sake of swearing and just sort of useless.
It's
useless anger.
Well, that's just it too. It's one thing if one character, if that's one of the traits you want to give one character, but he has everybody speak that way in this movie. There's a 10-year-old kid in this movie who swears like a pirate.
Right, never believable, not for a second. And his mother, who pulls out this huge honking gun.
No, I'm talking about the kid. Well, there's one.
Okay, right. Different scene. Yeah, you're right.
There's one where there's a 10-year-old car thief that that they stop to get information from, and the kid talks like he's Kevin Smith.
Yeah.
And then there's a mother who
the mother with the gun
interrupts a stakeout where they're trying to catch a robber in this robber in a house.
To show these cops how to do their job.
Yeah. So she starts, obviously a policeman's job is to swear and shoot somebody, so she just goes over the top.
Yeah. And Bruce Willis, this is definitely not tops for him. He kind of he's smirking his way through this movie.
Yeah.
He's playing the straight guy to Tracy Morgan, and Tracy Morgan certainly does get his chance to do some pretty funny stuff, and I laughed.
That was
rarely out loud, but every now and then it was funny, but it really just kind of doesn't work. I mean, if you're seeing this movie for free, then it's like, okay, fine, this is great, but paying $10 for it. And it's a buddy cop movie, but it's not that good.
Well, there's something about Bruce Willis movies too, is that he's done some really good movies. And he's done some really bad movies that are hugely entertaining. Mm-hmm. And then every once in a while, more often than not lately, he just puts out a clunker. You know? What was the last thing he did? That Surrogates?
Yeah.
That was awful. Did you?
I liked it.
Did you see it?
I liked it.
Really?
Yeah.
I just
thought
very
short. It was a very short film, but I thought it was cool. I thought the surrogates were really cool, and there was a good twist, but it was just so. I can see how it can be very forgettable, but I would see it again. I liked it.
Well, it's funny just looking at the IMDb, Bruce Willis, and the number of movies he's done, and I'll admit I've seen them all.
Yeah.
Just because it's Bruce Willis, you never know when you go in if it's going to be one of those ones where he really lifts it up and does something cool, or he's just collecting a paycheck and kind of wandering.
He's collecting a paycheck here.
Yeah.
And Kevin Smith, obviously, because they worked together on Live Free or Die Hard. They knew each other. They knew how they worked together, and so I can see how that connected. But he's definitely collecting a paycheck here, and his rapport with Tracy Morgan isn't like the maybe it was never intended to be, but certainly not the way he and Samuel L. Jackson would get on screen, which is funny because it wasn't intended to be as overtly funny as this. This is pretty broad stuff. How could they ever be partners?
For 9 years, you know?
I mean, it's just...
How could they ever be cops? Let alone, and the thing is, for it to work, and this is kind of like 48 Hours.
Oh, absolutely. It's so 48 Hours. And a homage to Beverly Hills Cop in many ways.
Homage,
particularly
homage.
Exactly. Particularly in the music, too, which I was intrigued to find out afterward that it was composed by Harold Faltermeyer.
Who is?
Beverly Hills Cop composer.
Really?
Yes. So it had these sort of hints, elements. This was so Beverly Hills Cop in a way.
Well, and the thing is...
definitely not...
Tracy Morgan's not Eddie Murphy. He can't... I don't think he's that funny when he's trying to be funny. And Murphy had the ability to switch and be
a straight-up cop.
Guy. Yeah.
There's none of that from... how can you believe Tracy Morgan in this role? He's very funny, but you can't believe that he's a partner with Bruce Willis. You can't believe that he's married to Rashida Jones.
No.
You just can't. And I thought that they were just going to lampoon the whole buddy cop thing so much that they really would have a scene where they put the banana in the tailpipe, but they didn't.
Right, and that's just it. If they were lampooning those things, it might have, and taking that route, it might have been a funnier movie, but because they are making a straight-up buddy cop action comedy where Smith can't really do action, the editing is terrible in those action scenes.
Kevin Smith, I think he's done great stuff, and he's a good director in his zone, but what I think he does is he directs a shot. Mm-hmm. He puts somebody in front of the camera, and they react to what's going on, or they do what they do, and he gets that shot. And then he edits these shots together in his scene where you see it's sort of a collection of shots as opposed to a cohesive scene.
Right, it doesn't flow at all.
It just seems clunky.
Yeah.
And even his camera moves seem kind of clunky. And I know, he'd say, but at least I'm doing it, at least I'm trying. But there's a lack of flow here that, to compare Kevin Smith to a filmmaker like David Fincher, it's like, holy shit.
Well, who would do that?
I mean, and he knows it too. He's one step above. He makes his movies and he does what he says he's going to do.
Yeah.
He says, you can criticize me to my face, tell me that I'm wrong, but just tell me. Don't do it behind my back.
Right.
If you disagree with the way I set stuff up, just let me know.
It'll be fun for fans, and I don't take it this far, but he'll obviously be blogging and Twittering and
his
Facebook
story is
and,
about
and
the
everything
making
else.
of the movie. I mean, he may have filmed a couple of good scenes in this movie, but most of it is clunky and doesn't seem to work. And his story is about the making of the movie and the fun they had while doing it,
Yeah.
and getting these particular shots and whatnot. It's just, it doesn't really flow. And he edits his movie almost as soon as possible, like while it's being made. And I just don't think it's cohesive.
No, you got to step back and look what you've done and figure out how it works.
Even the way he inserts his music into the film, it's just sort of such a setup.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't surprise you. It's cliche. And even though it was a homage in some ways, it was not a particularly good example of a Kevin Smith film. I really want to like it. I mean, I know that Clerks 2 is like, it's in its way, it's like a bad movie, but I enjoy it.
Oh,
but here,
still like Clerks 2.
For what it is.
Yeah,
enjoyable.
I've seen Mallrats. I won't say I like it, but I've seen it. And he knows that's his worst film, but he had to make a second movie after Clerks was such a hit. And, he really works better with smaller, character-driven pieces, not action pieces.
I wonder if that's why he turned down directing Green Hornet.
All I can say
he was
after
just getting
seeing
in over
Cop
his
Out
head.
is I'm glad he did. I still can't believe Seth Rogen is going to be the Green Lantern. I don't get that at all.
Green Hornet.
Green Hornet. Yeah, not Green Lantern.
Yeah.
Green Hornet.
I don't know how that's going to work,
Green
but
Giant.
we'll find out this December, or is it next
December?
year?
Who cares?
I don't remember.
Who's directing
It's a
it
year
now?
off.
Do we know?
I don't remember.
It's not Kevin
It's
Smith.
sitting off
That's what counts.
in front of my computer, but he tried. He tried Superman. He tried this. Maybe this is a setup for something. Maybe we get to see him try and get better. That's something that a lot of filmmakers aren't afforded. That he can learn about doing these things while spending the money and making these movies.
If that's what happened, I hope he learned a lot because he owes me. I followed his career from the start, and I really thought he had carved a niche out. So a Kevin Smith movie meant something.
Is this his first movie outside the Weinstein brothers influence?
I don't know. I know it's the first one he didn't write.
Hmm.
It's funny too when I think it's odd that when you watch the trailers for this on TV, they don't call it a Kevin Smith movie.
Yeah.
His name's never mentioned. It's a Bruce Willis, Tracy Morgan film.
Mm-hmm.
Directed by Kevin Smith is never mentioned in the commercials.
Mm.
I
I'm sure
think
it
that
must
speaks
have been
volumes.
produced by his gang, Scott Mosier.
No, I don't
I'm not
think
sitting
so.
in front of the
I don't think
computer,
this
so I
is
don't
not
have
a
all this
View
info.
Askew production at all.
Hmm.
This is a big studio piece.
Kevin Smith, director for Higher Peace.
Yeah.
And the only thing that was in there was as a connecting piece was Jason Lee.
Yeah.
Who was amusing.
Yeah.
In his piece, Jason Lee plays Bruce Willis's ex-wife's new husband, who makes a ton of money, and he sort of humiliates Bruce Willis's character for not being able to afford a $48,000 wedding for his daughter, played by Michelle Trachtenberg.
Say it like you mean it.
Yeah. So he. That's sort of the emotional impetus for Bruce Willis selling this baseball card. It's a 1952 Andy Pafko Topps baseball card, apparently #1, but it was apparently the first year that Topps started producing these type of cards in mass
I
quantity.
thought that was all scripted bullshit. Is that
But
real?
that's Kevin's. To me, that's a Kevin Smith thing. Like, he would know the value of these cards and the rarity of them, and,
Right.
and that this initial confrontation or robbery when Bruce Willis gets the card stolen from him by Sean William Scott in the baseball card collector's store, baseball card shop. That to me is Kevin Smith. Those sort of collectible knowledge things is his territory.
Yeah.
So they're basically trying to get this card back, $50,000 baseball card or something like that.
There's that moment where Bruce Willis has just been suspended from the force for 60 days, won't get any money. He was suspended without pay.
Typical,
so now he doesn't
typical
have
buddy
the
cop
money.
thing.
He doesn't have the money to pay for his daughter's wedding, and he goes to meet the daughter and his ex-wife and her new husband at a restaurant and finds out it's a $48,000 wedding. And although there's never any kind of storyline to establish why he's divorced, if he still likes his wife, why he hates Jason Lee, it's just very convenient for him to hate him. So when the rich guy offers to pay the $48,000, because it means nothing to him, you know, it's like pocket change. Here's the $48,000. Bruce Willis makes a stand and says, "No, I'll do it," you know, because I'm not taking your money. It just feels so phony because you don't have any. There's no depth to it. There's no background.
There
There's
isn't
no
depth.
reason for
There is completely shallow.
You know.
You know, we're.
Fuck, let the guy pay. You know. You've got a 3-minute movie, but fuck, let him pay. And then get on to the Mexican...
Bruce Willis is I guess he's the kind of, like, when you're going on these simple things, you can't be humiliated like that.
Yeah.
In the movie world, you can't be dissed like that. And,
Right.
you know, I think also it doesn't work because his ex-wife kind of hates him.
Right.
So why should he care what she thinks anyways?
Yeah, but again, we don't
After
know
that,
why.
You know, because they're just kind of, I don't know, I guess it all comes down to him wanting to do something like this for his daughter. And then his wife ends up humiliating him a little bit later on in the movie for not being nice to, you know, her daughter. His wife is kind of a biatch because she's like, you do anything that even gives the idea that my daughter's going to have a horrible day, and I will, yeah. It's just whatever.
And the thing is, if you've watched those scenes, you watch those scenes, and Willis still has that stupid smirk on his face, like, I can't believe I get paid to stand here and let her do this. You know, there's no acting on his part. You
Just
know,
movie absurdities, movie world absurdities.
So,
all the way down into the very end.
We can go on. Obviously, we already have. I just think we should wrap it up and just say...
I still like Kevin Smith, but I wouldn't pay $10 for this.
No, definitely would not pay.
On to Ray Harryhausen and Raquel Welch.
One million years BC erupts on the screen with volcanic excitement. 1 million years BC, when the earth parted and the mountains fell. Primitive man and monstrous beasts fought each other to inherit the earth. Not since time began has the primitive scene been captured for the screen with such imaginative realism. Behold man 1 million years BC. Introducing the fabulous Raquel Welch, the sensational star discovery of this or any other year in 1 million years BC. See her as Loana the Fair One, who deserted her tribe and risked her life to follow Tumac of the Rock People. John Richardson as Tumac, as big and strong as the beasts he fought for survival. Nupondi the Wild One, whom no man could resist. See the fascinating, strange, and fearful creatures who roamed and ruled the earth 1 million years BC. Brontosaurus, a moving mountain of flesh and bone. The pterodactyl, a flying reptile with giant teeth. The flesh-eating Allosaurus. The Triceratops, a horned dinosaur in battle with the savage Ceratosaurus. You will share the unending thrills and excitement of a world of primitive wonders, of primeval terror and savagery. You will indeed live in another world, in another time, as the centuries fall back to reveal the Earth 1 million years BC.
You just heard a clip from 1 million years BC, starring Raquel Welch, and featuring some of those awesome sound effects. Oh my God. I think this is a movie that, when you look back on it, sound editors, and we all know what sound editing is, realize that we've really got to improve. We've really got to step our game up because the sound in this movie was like, oh my God.
I'll admit, Steve, I don't remember the sound. I don't remember the plot.
Was it the sound, or was it Raquel Welch's breasts?
Well, yeah. The microphone was put on her breast, and it just didn't do any. It just couldn't record. I'm holding the DVD, and they're laughing at me because I've been holding it since we walked in the room. On the back of, you know how they put blurbs on DVDs, you know, from press, or they make them up or whatever. This is from the Los Angeles Herald Examiner. This is on the back of the DVD for 1 million years BC. The movie has one delightful asset, a vision of Amazon-like beauty known as Raquel Welch. That pretty much sums it up for me. But we're here to talk about Ray Harryhausen first.
Ray.
Because he's got... now, how involved is he in the new Clash of the Titans? Do we know?
I don't think he is at all.
Okay. But he did do the 1981.
Yeah.
Okay. And for those who don't know, Ray Harryhausen is famous for stop motion effects.
Absolutely. In fact, I could be wrong about him not being involved in the new one, at least as a consultant or something like that. So since we're not sitting in front of a computer and I can't look it up right now, I feel like...
Well, the thing is, though...
Bring it on, correct me,
you see the trailers
criticize
for the new one, and it's not stop motion animation. It's all computer generated, you know, so the giant crab and everything else.
You know, it's like The Mummy. Just turn up the volume.
Yeah.
Like the Mummy trailer, the crazy, just over-the-top animation. But I do like the way they edit it to the beats. But then again, this is like, Clash of the Titans music video?
That's right. That's right. But Harryhausen was one of the first and probably the best stop-motion animator. He did so many movies.
He was the big fish in a sea of very few people doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah, because there were like two schools of animation for this kind of thing. If you're doing a movie where you need a dinosaur. And so there are basically two schools of thought here. You get a guy like Harryhausen to do really good, especially at the time,
superimposed stop motion.
Yeah, so they have a clay dinosaur, and you know they move them every frame. So 24 movements a second, and it makes the clay animal seem alive in the movie. Now, when we watch him now, except for like the skeleton battle in the 7 Voyages of Sinbad, and maybe a couple of others, they look pretty silly.
Oh,
but
absolutely.
Before Harryhausen did this, if they needed a dinosaur, they would take a lizard and like glue scales on him and like push him out into a fake set.
And this movie has an example of both.
Right.
I mean, the first creature we see is basically a extremely close-up photographed lizard. It's just, it's amusing. Oh my God! Just
now this came out in '66.
67.
67. So I was a lad of 8. I'm not sure I saw it, but I don't remember if in '67 this was still as funny as it is now. Did people laugh, or did people actually?
I imagine it was taken like being a film critic. Yeah. One of the intangibles is like for younger film critics, it's not having the experience of seeing these movies when they came out and being able to put them in the correct context.
Right.
So for me, I can't really do it for this film. I can only imagine that when watching these effects on screen at the time, and I did see a couple of Harryhausen films as a kid in the theater. Like I was talking with Paul, the Sinbad films.
Golden Voyage of Sinbad.
Yeah. With the the attacking skeletons and stuff, terrific, and I remember the kind of feeling that gave me. It was just very cool and scary, and there is that element in watching the stop motion stuff that Harryhausen does in 1 million years BC. It's cool, but it is kind of scary in a way.
Yeah.
The animal does have a character; it does come to life. He does integrate the live action footage and the animation in a way that they cross over each other. There's that meshing between the two that sort of creates the semi-reality of it,
right?
Even though it's completely fake. But
okay, I've got to interject something here as the voice of the age, because I remember seeing those movies when I was a kid. By the way, I always thought that Sinbad's voyage really sucked.
Really? Oh my God!
Just,
the whole attack of the
lame. It was much slicker than.
Well, you must have been coming at this from a more mature perspective, because I thought it was the coolest thing since sliced bread.
Jason and the Argonauts was cool.
That was
Okay.
61,
That had
61,
fighting
62.
skeletons.
It was the Jason and the Argonauts that had the fighting skeletons?
Yeah, I don't
Okay.
know, maybe Sinbad did too. I did watch that, but
This one had the Cyclops, like the goat Cyclops guy.
that was also Jason and the Argonauts.
All right,
You
so-
know, all that Greek stuff. But the skeletons were real creepy.
Yeah.
And the harpies, those were really fun.
Yeah.
And actually, I watched it in 2004. I watched it for some class I was in, and I was amazed at how bad the modeling was on the harpies. This freaked me out, you know. And the skeletons were still scary, but because they were so relentless, they were sort of like precursors to zombies in a way.
Right.
Because they were dead, and yet they wouldn't give up, and there was just no way to get rid of them because every time you did, they doubled and tripled and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
But the animation was awesome. I really was, and you could really buy into it as a kid.
Right.
Now, as an adult at that time, I don't know whether you could buy into it or not, but I think all of that stuff. At the same time, I watched The Clash of the Titans, and I thought that was really bad too. And I realized that.
Really?
Yeah, I thought The Clash of the Titans. By
Well,
him,
you know, even at the time.
Well, first of all, it
because-
was not a good movie in terms of either acting or in terms
It
of
was the
story.
best Harry Hamlin film ever.
Even at the time, that kind of stuff was becoming passé.
Yeah, but
by 1980, and
I
you could
think-
tell, and I still accepted it, and it was cool, particularly Medusa.
Yeah.
We were at that point. We're thinking this is still cheesy.
Well, I think that if you see it at a certain age, and it is the best that there is at the time, you're
Right.
sort of imprinted by that. As
Well, this was in the
just like
post-Star
when it-
Wars
well,
thing
and-
in
well,
1980.
well, I
The
know
effects
that-
were taking a
that
step up.
Sometime in the 60s is when Jason and the Argonauts came out.
61 or 2, I think.
No, it wasn't that early.
Are you sure?
Well, I can check in here and see, but I do think that so in that context, it is important to remember that it had that kind of power because it was existing in a vacuum. There was
Right.
nothing else that compared to it. Yeah, there's those really lame-looking dinosaurs that were, that were just simply sort of, humped up-looking lizard. You know?
Right.
For people listening, if you can hear Paul's voice, that's our producer, recordist, Paul.
I'll make them hear me.
Yeah.
Good.
You know, it's funny, Paul, when you mentioned that the harpies made an imprint on you, because as soon as you mentioned it, it flashed what those harpies look like flashed into my head. I'm sure if I watched it now like you did, I'd be like, I can't believe I was scared of those things, but I was. You know, it's like
he did make that happen, Ray Harryhausen. He animated some scary stuff. I don't want to interrupt what you're saying, but I was traumatized from the beast from, what was it, 40,000 fathoms or something like that. Ate that police officer that was shooting at him.
Yeah,
I was just like, good God, that
Well,
really.
his ability to do the compositing, to integrate that into the movie, was really quite impressive. And although it was sort of clay, and I think part of the problem with Clash of the Titans, I thought, is that too much of it was too well lit. Like when I looked at the Harpies thing, it was sort of evening and dusk. And how can you make a skeleton look bad no matter what the light is? So there's nothing like you have to worry about the flesh and the muscles and so forth.
Right.
So you buy into the fact that it's animation, but at the same time you say, I don't care. This is damn scary, and how's the good guys going to get out of that?
Yeah, and Beast of 20,000 Fathoms was black and white, right?
Yeah.
So that's easier, to fake or to make it look real.
But there was definite power there, and of course, couple generations of animators and CG artists and so forth basically are constantly pulling information from those movies in terms of how to present those kinds of characters. So, there's no question that he was a power.
Yeah, there was a time in 79, 80 when, Lucas's guys were doing the stop motion animation in The Empire Strikes Back. I don't remember if Empire came out before Clash of the Titans in 1980, but I remember thinking the animation was better in Empire because Phil Tippett had integrated what he called go motion, which is when you have your skeleton and you do the little inch by inch, you move the thing to make it work. But he had the limbs sort of electrified, so he could create motion blurs, and that was a different thing at the time, was the ability to be able to create this blur that you didn't see in the early Harryhausen stuff.
1963, that's when Jason and the Argonauts came out. Man, that was
wow.
I was 4. I don't mind admitting that.
Wow, I would love to see that again.
When it's funny when for anyone out there who doesn't understand what we're talking about with stop motion animation, A Nightmare Before Christmas. Tim Burton's A Nightmare Before Christmas is stop motion. So you're familiar with that style of filmmaking, and that's really the height of what that style can do nowadays.
But you look at King Kong, the original King Kong.
Yes.
Peter Jackson said that was his vision, to get into filmmaking, and that was basically the monkey on his back when he was working on his King Kong version.
Did you really say that? Oh, boy.
There's some terrific stop motion being done in the short films these days. As an art form to be respected unto itself, you can really do this in short film or in like James and the Giant Peach or Nightmare Before Christmas.
Mhm.
Or Coraline was kind of like that. Or was that
Coraline
CG?
was the same thing. No, Coraline was stop motion too. Same director. When you mentioned King Kong, that's 1930 something, and the thing, and I still love that movie, and I love Kong's battling the Tyrannosaurus Rex and Kong's doing this, and when he reaches into the hotel, it looks like looks like one of those Macy's Day Parade balloons.
Oh, I love the elevated train sequence.
Yeah, but the thing is, there's such emotion in Kong's face. There's a character there, and that's what, to me, is what makes the best. The dinosaurs are cool and that kind of thing, but when they can do claymation or not, whatever, stop motion animation to create a real character that you believe in. I'm not sure if Harryhausen did much of that.
Well, I felt that his characters, at least the dinosaurs and some of the creatures had some real, their eyes were very detailed and were very frightening in that way.
I think that he was able to use them to represent a certain power or force, and so therefore they were a good foil for the main character that happened to be interacting it, whether it was battling it or whether it was helping it.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be interesting to see if the new Clash of the Titans in any way is going to say this is what we've done since. I mean, have we just completely eradicated the idea that any of this stuff might have been inspired by stop action, animation, or what is it? As if there might be some reference as to say this is how it was done when we can do it better, or
if they could just do a good job and tell a decent story,
right,
that would be enough for me, because the story of Clash of the Titans was irrelevant. It really was all about Ray Harryhausen. Maybe that wasn't the intention, but that was about the only thing of value. The acting was really bad, the story was pathetic, and even the shots outside of the animation weren't all that particularly interesting. So they're going to fall victim, most likely, I think, because that's what happens to most CGI movies, is that they're going to fall victim to the fact that, hey, this is a movie all about
computer-generated monsters.
Yeah. Forget about
and
the story.
And it could in years become what The Mummy was. When you look at it now, you think computer-generated imagery.
When have you got Harryhausen on the laptop?
I can get it. I got the. What do you need to know?
Well, I know he did. Was it Invasion from Mars or Attack of the Martians? He did a sci-fi movie about an invasion.
Flying saucers have invaded our planet. Washington, London.
I think he did.
Got a decade there?
Did he do...
he did First Men on the Moon. I love that.
Right. No, it was after that. It was around 50, late 50s maybe.
Oh, you know what?
Not Invaders from Mars.
I saw Sinbad and the Eye of the Tiger. I did not see The Golden Voyage of Sinbad, so perhaps I dissed the wrong one.
Let the irate readers or listeners.
Right.
What were the years on those? 72?
Golden Voyage is 74. Eye of the Tiger 77, just in time for a drive.
Yeah, the Golden Voyage was 74.
I can picture the cover of the DVD, but not the title. I know it's got Martians or something.
We are the survivors of a disintegrated solar system. At this moment, the remainder of our fleet is circling your globe.
What do you want with me?
Arrange for your world leaders to confer with us in the city of Washington.
Mysterious Island, possibly?
No.
Now, what is this? What is this about?
It's some kind of invasion, Martian invasion. It's a black and white from the 50s.
Oh, 50s. Okay, so we're talking 20 million miles to Earth?
Nope. No.
Came from beneath the sea?
No, I saw that one, though. That was
When
awesome.
Worlds Collide?
No. Mysterious Island? No, I got nothing.
Maybe I'm dreaming. Maybe I'm just making this stuff up
One of
to
the films-
challenge our listeners to prove me wrong.
I really loved Valley of the Gwangi. In fact, I think they used the same dinosaur. I think it's a velociraptor. dinosaur attack and kill here in 1 million years BC.
Yeah.
It looks just, to me, as far as my memory being correct, I hope, is the same dinosaur that Harryhausen animated in Valley of the Guanji.
The one the cowboys lasso?
Yep.
Valley of the Guanji is awesome.
I loved
but it's
it.
awesomely bad.
And I love Jerome Moras's score. The music, terrific.
You always make me feel like I should listen more. I never pay attention unless it's dun 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 in Jaws.
Well, I can
never
perform
pay
it for
attention
you.
to the music.
I'd love to use a sound. I'd love to put a clip of that in this.
Of the music from Valley of the Guanji.
The theme from Valley of the Guanji.
Yeah.
I love it. Man, I love it.
I have the dance
my friend of mine, John Humphrey, put it on a mix for me like 15 years ago, and I've digged it ever since.
Is it a dance remix?
Yeah, it's.
That would be awesome.
It was a nerd remix of movie themes, which is totally awesome. Guanji, man.
I have to sit here and say I'm amazed. We started talking about Raquel Welch and then somehow made it all about Harryhausen, and that's just not fair to Miss Welch.
No,
it really isn't.
No, but she wasn't stop motion animated.
Yes, she was. Every time she moved, I stopped. Is that the same thing? I don't know if it is.
They had an interesting sense of fashion design.
They did, because
closely tailored.
bikinis like this didn't stand, aren't fossilized. And not only did she have a wonderful sense of style in her, I don't know if it's goat skin bikini or
two-piece.
Yeah, a two-piece, because that was in that year for 1 million years BC was in for the two-piece, and the well-styled hair. When you see something like Quest for Fire. And is like, they dirty, they're grungy, they really, you can almost smell
well
them on
combed.
the screen.
When in actuality,
she's right out of the makeup trailer in front of the giant crab.
So mad.
And I think that's
no matting,
wonderful.
no hair matting.
No, God no. People would be fired for that. But as much as rewatching this movie for this, and I want to thank you for that opportunity. I know there was a giant crab attack. I know there was some other monster attacks. I just remember her in the bikini.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, it wasn't Harryhausen who did it, as far as we know. But
no, he did not animate the bikini.
No.
But he did a terrific scene with the velociraptor and the girl caught in the tree. And then the pterodactyl sequence where they picked her up out of the pterodactyl picks her up and she's basically being delivered to the baby pterodactyls for food.
Love that.
It was for Harryhausen. It was pretty amazing with the flying. The harpies flew. So he's done that before. Yeah, that was cool.
Again,
the worst of it was this lizard or whatever that was at the beginning. That was just basically close-up photography of a.
Maybe when they're making it, they were trying to do low budget and they did the lizard thing and saw it and they go, oh shit, we better get Harryhausen in here to fix this.
I wonder if this was photographed in like CinemaScope. I mean, like 70 millimeters. So when you see this at the theater back then, it was like freaking huge.
Wouldn't you love it? Yeah, this is probably like the big clique-like premiere, all the stars coming out to see this thing. And here we are laughing about it 30 years, 40 years later.
Oh my God, the sound effects are just so
Can you
annoying. And there's a guy that gets like a special credit for the special sound effects, which is basically this clackety clack clack clack.
Oh, that's the crab,
jarring
right?
stuff. I think they used it for
which was her bosom. Together, the clackety clack and the it was just. Again, I'd put it on the dance mix.
Yeah. Well, I will watch this again. I love the Harryhausen
I'm buying the
stuff.
poster. I'm going to go to, what is it, poster.com or whatever.
I wonder how well it did theatrically. And also I wonder, this is a Fox film. And at this time, they were probably in production or considering making Planet of the Apes. So this is in the same sort of range as that. And I kind of got like a Planet of the Apes. If this came out before Planet of the Apes, I could see how they were maybe gearing something like that, at least in terms of the locations that they used.
Desert.
I wonder where they filmed this. I don't know. I didn't research it that.
Just outside of L.A.
It does have that
a flat piece
Northern
of dirty
California
land where you
look.
can't see any
It does
power
have
lines.
that look. It does.
Yeah, because that's what the Earth looked like back then. No matter where you were, it looked like
Well,
pre-industrial
when they emerge from the volcano in this one shot, and you just basically can see that there's no fine cutting or anything around the superimposed hair. It's just like it's
it looks like bad Photoshop.
What's his name? Richardson and Raquel Welch, climbing up on this hill, and then this bad superimposed image on the background.
To be fair, for the ladies who may not be interested in Raquel, he has prehistoric BG hair.
Oh, that's true.
He has an exceedingly coiffed. He looks like Barry Gibb.
He does look like Barry Gibb.
And he runs around shirtless. He's a very hairy man, which was sexy back in 1960, whatever.
Barry Gibb, caveman.
Yeah, that would be funny.
And they
Barry
were
Gibb was a caveman.
They were fashion conscious enough to do a one shoulder loop for the cave
guy?
Dress.
Yeah, and
for the cave outfit.
Yeah, it was,
It was production design.
Yeah, that was it. That was where all the money was spent here. People hear us talk about this, and we're making it sound like it was, the godfather of prehistoric dinosaur movies. It pretty much was. This was the whole genre.
I was thinking the same thing. It kind of like, what was really prehistoric before this?
Where I saw movies like this was Creature Double Feature. Remember that? You grew up around
was it a Boston thing?
It was it was in Rhode Island, but I think it was TV 38 out of Boston on Saturday afternoons would play 2 monster movies. So you'd see Attack of the Mushroom People and the Giant Gila Monster. And then they had a host, like one of those ghoul hosts, do the thing.
Is it still happening? Because I saw they had it on Facebook.
No, I think that's just Facebook nostalgia. Be a fan of something that happened 30 years ago. But that's where I started seeing these movies. I just fell in love with monster movies, and the cheaper the better. I don't want, all right, Jurassic Park, those are really cool dinosaurs. We know that. But Valley of the Gwangi?
Sweet.
I know it's fake, but it's hilariously fake.
A special place in my heart for the Gwangi.
So I want listeners to really consider renting, if not buying, 1 million years BC, Valley of the Gwangi, Beast from 20,000 Fathoms. What's the moon one?
From Earth to the Moon, I think it is. I found your science fiction one. Earth versus the Flying Saucer.
Yes! That's it. Have you seen that?
Flying saucers have invaded our planet. Washington, London, Paris, Moscow are key targets. The whole world is under attack. Can it survive?
We are the survivors of a disintegrated solar system. At this moment, the remainder of our fleet is circling your globe. What do you want with me? Arrange for your world leaders to confer with us in the city of Washington.
They set up an electronic screen. The artillery doesn't penetrate.
Never before has the screen reached such heights of excitement. Breathtaking spectacle. Hair-raising terror. See the saucermen's high-frequency disintegrator. See flying saucers travel thousands of miles in seconds. See great cities leveled by flying saucer monsters.
Ross, look.
The same kind of thing that's watched us since the beginning of the project.
People of Earth, attention. People of Earth, attention. This is a voice speaking to you from thousands of miles beyond your planet.
They're coming down to take over. They made that clear to us in the saucer. To the best of our knowledge, my wife and I are the only ones left alive.
Yeah, that's an awesome movie.
Isn't that where they get to blow up the White House?
If only people could see John getting excited about this.
No,
with his fists in the air.
It's one of those movies where you know, if you look close, you can probably see the fishing line holding the spaceships, and the Martians, the creatures are ridiculous. But it was one of those black and white serious science fiction movies, you know? And it doesn't end well. It's not one of those happy ending movies. I won't spoil it, but it doesn't end well. And
What
it's
year
a
was
classic.
this? This was 50s?
Yeah, 57. You can rent them all, and there's a few you can watch on your computer. 56. So my brother was probably made to this movie. I wasn't. I was still just a gleam in my daddy's eye. But that's one I highly recommend watching. It's so cool. And the thing is, it goes back to what you were saying, Paul. Yeah, some of the effects are cheesy. And I'm sure they probably were cheesy back then, but it's a good story, you know? And it's not all about the effects. The effects are there to highlight a good story, a good science fiction, 50s science fiction story. So,
boy, if you could find a clip from that, that would be sweet. What's it called again?
Earth versus the Flying Saucers?
Yeah. Yeah. Do you remember that Tim Burton did Mars Attacks? It was like that, but serious. You know, didn't have the little green creatures being destroyed by Slim Whitman's voice, which I thought was awesome. Remember that?
I'm intrigued. I really want to see it now. I do really want to see. He goes back. I think he did Mighty Joe Young, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
And was an assistant on Kong.
Yeah.
Or some way involved with it. Boy, that was a long time ago.
I went to, I think it was Universal Studios, did the King Kong ride at Universal in Florida.
Never been.
It's an awesome ride. They had the actual model for King Kong on display. And it's like 2 feet tall. You know, and they had a little scale-size Empire State Building. And the thing was beat up. I mean, it was just...
The actual Empire State Building?
Well, no, the actual Kong that they used for the climbing up the building scene. It was beat up, the fur was hanging off and stuff, but it was still so cool to see. This was the little doll that they moved one frame at a time to give the appearance that Kong was climbing,
I thought one of those models was in the possession of Forrest J. Ackerman at his mansion.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
All right, the yawn says it's time to move on.
But no, wait, no, you can't leave people hanging with the Forrest J. Ackerman story.
Forrest J. Ackerman, editor of Famous Monsters of Filmdom from the mid-50s onward. He had a house in the Hollywood Hills, I guess, that was just a repository for his mammoth collection of all things monster, science fiction, fantasy films,
Huh. And maybe it was on loan? Or...
If you scheduled a time, I believe you could have just come to the house and checked out his collection.
It can't be done anymore?
No, he passed away last year. Well, you know what? I don't know. Perhaps.
Wait, you don't know if he passed away?
Well, no, he did pass away, but
Okay.
I don't know if his house is still available to have people come and check things out.
Okay.
I know he has the famous skull from Raiders of the Lost Ark, and
the famous skull.
I think he may have been one of the people that had some of the Wolfman props. Some
The original Wolfman, not the
Wolfman stuff.
The new one, which again was all computer generated.
Yeah.
So anyway, I don't want to yawn again, and I apologize to anyone who heard that. But it's been a long taping.
That's right.
So
hey, there is something going on at the Coolidge next week.
Good. Tell everyone about it while I try not to yawn.
The tribute to Jonathan Demme. He's the recipient of the Coolidge Award this year, and the Coolidge has been playing his films, I think, over the past week. They've been playing a couple of... what was the one he did for Roger Corman? Crazy Mama? Yeah, but, he's also directed Silence of the Lambs and Stop Making Sense, and then a couple of films for Roger Corman. And recently, last year, Rachel Getting Married, and he had a film back in September at the Toronto Film Fest, the Neil Young Truck Show.
Right.
Which I think is premiering Monday or Tuesday at the Coolidge, and Jonathan Demme's going to be there, and they're going to do a Q&A after the Neil Young Truck Show. So check Coolidge COOLIDGE.org for a showtime on that. I'm not sure if it's Monday or Tuesday, but on Tuesday they're screening one of his 70s flicks, Melvin and Howard, and they're going to do a panel discussion. And Elvis Mitchell is going to be there, cinematographer Tak Fujimoto. His music editor, Susanna Perrick, is going to be there, and I think Roger Corman's going to be there too. The screening is at noon on Tuesday, but I think Roger Corman may be... They're going to do a gala event at 6 o'clock, which is a reception with food and whatnot, and Roger Corman will be there, and some other famous filmy people will be lauding Jonathan Demme at 6 o'clock. And the tickets are kind of steep. It's $100 a ticket, but that's what's happening. There's a couple opportunities that people will have to hang with Jonathan Demme at the Coolidge on Monday and Tuesday, so definitely get out there if you can.
Sure.
And then I think over the next week they're going to be screening Stop Making Sense and
one of my favorite films,
Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah, Demme has a way of doing concert films. He did Stop Making Sense. He did Russ Never Sleeps.
Oh,
he
yeah.
did Storefront Hitchcock, who was Robin Hitchcock, who's a British singer-songwriter. And it's literally this guy, Robin Hitchcock, standing in the storefront of an empty building in front of a small audience, singing songs and telling stories. And it's fascinating.
Didn't he appear in Rachel Getting Married?
Who?
Robin Hitchcock. He did a song, I think, for the wedding in Rachel Getting Married.
I've never seen Rachel
Didn't really
Getting
like
Married.
it that much. So that's another reason I won't be there on Tuesday.
No. All right, so people who are stalking
No. When Stop Making Sense was phenomenal.
Yeah.
That was the concert film to see in the late 80s. Well, when did it come out? 85?
Something.
86. That was the film. So I think that wraps it up for this week. We reviewed Cop Out, the new Kevin Smith film, and 1 Million Years BC, the Raquel Welch, Ray Harryhausen film. But it's really more Raquel Welch, or is it more Harryhausen? I don't know. You've got to see Fathom.
I have seen Fathom.
Her James Bond
I've
thing. That's a good one.
I've seen them all. I would recommend Kansas City Bomber.
That I have not seen.
Where she's a roller. That was before
the roller
Whip It.
derby?
She was a roller derby queen. Kansas City Bomber. Excellent movie. Fuzz with Burt Reynolds. Excellent movie. Mother's Jugs and Speed. Guess what one she is? Bandolero with James Stewart.
I'm impressed. I had just recently
Handy
heard
Calder
about
with Robert Culp.
Her roller derby flick. I'd wanted to.
Kansas City Bomber, excellent movie. And she actually does well. You know, she's more believable as a roller derby star than Drew Barrymore was in Whip It. Anyway, I celebrate her oeuvre.
You celebrate the Raquel Welch filmography.
Yeah, filmography. Is she still making movies? I know she did Tortilla Soup, which was terrible. Because now she's all like waxy from plastic surgery. She's just really, she hasn't aged well. But that's okay. I'm thinking I should get a Raquel Welch tattoo. This.
What is she now? Late 60s, probably?
No, she's only she's probably like 70 something. I want people to know that she's got an autobiography coming out called Beyond the Cleavage, and I've already pre-ordered it on
For real?
Amazon. Yeah, for real.
Okay.
I've pre-ordered it on Amazon, and that will be our first ever book review. I will have to talk about that, unless it really stinks.
Yeah, I'm totally.
Then I'll
up for
talk
book
about it
reviews.
some more. So
Totally
we should
up
wrap
for
this up.
More book review stuff on the show. So let's wrap it up. If you have any questions for us and comments, we'd like to hear from you. Send us an email at postmoviepodcast@gmail.com, and be sure to check out our website at postmovie.wordpress.com. And you can also become a fan of the podcast on Facebook. We don't have a direct link set up yet, but if you log on to Facebook and search for Post Movie Podcast, our page should turn up. Thanks as always to Paul Leisen, our producer recordist, for his invaluable work on putting the show together, because without Paul there is no Post Movie Podcast. For the Post Movie Podcast, I'm Steve Head.
And I'm John Black.
And thanks for listening. I had a couple of one-on-ones with Jet Li. I was like, how am I going to do this? He's like Mr. Martial Arts, and can he really speak English that well? It turned out being a couple of the best interviews ever.
Yeah.
He was like this awesome, really like inspirational, really cares about getting the material right. And I've interviewed him like 3 times. One time my batteries, died, and they let me just take 10 minutes to go up into the hotel, get my batteries, come back. We started over again. They were totally cool with it. I mean, the guy is like, he just rolls with the punches. It was
the
awesome.
worst thing is when
God forbid that had happened to Ray Liotta.
Yeah, you'd be dead. Do you remember the movie Elf?
Yeah.
Did you do the junket for that?
Yeah.
When everyone's, we're going to talk to Will Ferrell. We're going to talk to Jon Favreau. I was like, yeah, I've talked to him before. Bob Newhart comes in,
That was the best.
And I'm just like,
that was the
Bob
best interview.
Newhart.
I was so proud to sit
Yeah.
there with Bob Newhart.
I'm in the same room with him. I don't even have to talk to him.
That was like my dad's idol.
Yeah, and
in a way.
he was really good. And then Ed Asner came in, and he was really funny. He was just a grumpy old fuck, you know, like you're Santa Claus.
The Bob Newhart. That was a parade of.
Oh, it was great talent.
People.
I was in awe of Bob Newhart. I was just like,
wouldn't it?
Well, you know, he strikes me as somebody who can think fast on his feet.
I remember sitting there at the table with the other three guys doing the interview, thinking, "This is gold here."
Yeah.
Like we really do you get this?
They don't.
Do you get
They
it
don't.
that this is Bob Newhart sitting here, and we're going to talk to him about his career and growing up in Chicago and doing, you know, TV there, and me being from Chicago, I'm like, wow.
I thought you were from Pat Hingle land.
No,
That's
no.
where
I
you
moved to after college. I moved down to Wilmington, North Carolina, because that's where they built the movie studio, North Carolina Film Studios, and I worked on a couple of movies down there. So I lived for 2 years on Wrightsville Beach, which is where Pat Hingle lived. And so other people that live down there that worked on movies, you know who Pat Hingle is? He's like the Batman. He's the real Batman commissioner. He's the real Batman.
No,
guy.
the real Batman
or the
commissioner
cop,
was
the cop,
on
the
TV
real
show.
Cop or something.
Which, by the way, you remember the old Batman TV
I
shows?
love it. I've got the whole bunch of the videos that I've got on my computer.
I just bought a bootleg set of the series, the complete series.
Color. I just love the color.
Really?
It's amazing. It's like it's not real
No.
color, and yet it's so great.
Technicolor.
Anyway, what about it?
No, I just bought a bootleg box set from someplace in Vegas. It's obviously they were copied off TV Land because they play and there's like spaces where the commercial should be. I just started watching. My brother's like, "Are we gonna watch another one?" I go, "Yeah." It's the Riddler, and I was just cracking up. I was like, "It's so bad," but I went through like 7 episodes, and he was like, "All right, we got to stop." I was like, "Okay."
And yet, because of that, we have
John Travolta doing the Batusi.
That's right.
That was yes.
And that was with Jill St. John in the original.
Oh my God! Wasn't there there was a Batman reference? I think in a recent movie we saw about how they couldn't throw the bomb out.
Oh, when he's running around.
Running
there's
around,
nuns
you
there.
can't-
Oh,
the
I can't
nuns
throw
there.
it.
What was that? What movie was that?
That was the Batman movie.
No. We just saw it. We just saw it like lampooned in another film.
I don't know.
The Batman movie is referenced in the new Wallace and Gromit short that's nominated for an Academy Award. It's playing at the Coolidge.
The Loaf?
It's like the evil bakery guy.
Yeah.
What's it called? A Matter of Loaf and Death.
You're not going to try to say that on the radio, are you?
No, but there's a bomb, and Wallace is going from window to window to try to get rid of the bomb, and there's a bunch of kids with candy bars over here. There's a bunch of ducklings in the water. There's a bunch of nuns. Fucking, so he can't. And he's still just like Batman, man. It was pretty funny. The good news is, compared to other times, I think I saved time on that one.
Spoken too soon.
I think I actually
Spoken
saved
too
time.
soon, Steve.